5 upcoming teams in the NBA for next season and possibly years to come. This is all just my opinion, so feel free to let me know your opinion in the comment section below. My name is Josh, and let's get started first talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, who may not look like an upcoming team right now because they're getting spanked by the Boston Celtics, who don't have Kyrie Irving, who don't have Gordon Hayward. They're on the right path to success, and hopefully they don't prematurely fire their coach Brett Brown, who is definitely being outcoached by Brad Stevens. But still, this isn't something to overreact considering the 76ers haven't made the playoffs since the Derrick Rose ACL injury. Since he tore that ACL, they were the 8th seed, knocked off the Bulls, and ironically enough, they got eliminated in the second round by the Boston Celtics, so it's only fitting if they get knocked out once again this year by that said same team. The tandem of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons looks promising for the future, especially when you add other young players like Dario Saric and Markelle Fultz to the mix. They're #1 draft pick, hurt majority of the season, trusting the process. This is the year Philadelphia made their statement on being one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and they're going to be up there for years to come. Next, let's talk about the Utah Jazz, who figuratively speaking aren't supposed to be here. They're not supposed to be this far, but they've made it this far, just like the Philadelphia 76ers. Made it to the second round and are a better team, surprisingly, without Gordon Hayward. That's weird how that worked out, because they traded Trey Lyles for the Nuggets pick, and that Nuggets pick became Donovan Mitchell. Crazy story how a rookie is leading their team to success. And we're not talking about the first overall draft pick that this team selected. We're talking about the 13th overall draft pick. That's absurd to see in his first year, to see the level he's playing at. So Donovan Mitchell definitely has a bright future, and so do the Utah Jazz now. So we'll see how they add around Donovan Mitchell, because it looks like he's going to be the cornerstone moving onward. They really only have Derek Favors, who's going to be a free agent this offseason, so they don't have that much wiggle room when it comes to signing a big name free agent. But hey, maybe more people want to come to Utah now that they got a guy like Donovan Mitchell. Not to mention Quinn Snyder. I think a good part of the Utah Jazz's success is having a solid coach. He's only been there for 4 years, and he's done an amazing job thus far. Speaking of good coaches, Brad Stevens is a pretty good coach. So let's talk about the Boston Celtics, who had a series of unfortunate events to start the season. They signed Gordon Hayward, and then he snapped his ankle loose in his first game that he played with the Boston Celtics. And it looked like, or at least in Skip Bayless's eyes, that LeBron's road to the finals just got a whole lot easier. But the Boston Celtics kind of proved that they were incorrect, considering if you look at the Boston Celtics now, they've overcome a lot. Although it sucks that Gordon Hayward went down and we're not able to see the full potential of the Boston Celtics, we were able to see what guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were able to do when given more opportunities, and because of that injury, they got a whole lot of opportunities this season. But personally, I wasn't really impressed with the Boston Celtics until I saw them in playoffs, because they were doing this without Kyrie Irving, and in the first round without Marcus Smart as well, some of their best players. So if they're able to do all of this without 2 of their best players in playoffs, it's kind of crazy to see what the future is going to become with the Celtics. When all of their players are healthy, they're going to be up top at the Eastern Conference for possibly years to come, as long as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum aren't traded away. Don't trade those guys for Kawhi. Don't do that. Moving on to the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are kind of a sad, depressing story, because for the past few years, they've been 1 seed out of the NBA playoffs. And I really thought, it looked like, especially, this was their year. It wasn't. So we're going to be saying that next year, that this next year is the Nuggets' year to make playoffs and emerge in the tough Western Conference. And I do believe that as well, because they have key players like Wilson Chandler and Will Barton that are going to be free agents this offseason. So if they don't re-sign said guys, and they're able to bring in another guy to go with Paul Millsap and Jokic and the amazing backcourt of Jamal Murray and Gary Harris, if they add that one more piece, I think that one more piece can take him over the edge and finally, rightfully so, have the Nuggets make playoffs and be a threat in the Western Conference. Their biggest hole, in my opinion, is the small forward spot. They could definitely improve from Wilson Chandler, but unfortunately for the Nuggets in the offseason, it's not looking so hot because there's not that many great small forwards realistically that are going to be coming to Denver. So, in my opinion, trade guys like Kenneth Faried and Darrell Arthur, because we all know he's going to accept that player option because there's no way he's getting paid. I really like this Nuggets squad. Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, a underrated backcourt. Lastly, let's talk about the Indiana Pacers, who, just like the Utah Jazz, they lost their best player. This best player being Paul George. Paul George, everyone said, oh my goodness, the Oklahoma City Thunder robbed the Pacers. They traded Paul George for a bag of chips. That's the famous quote. I don't know who said that. Someone on ESPN said that, right? Probably Stephen A or somebody. It sounds like a Stephen A quote right there. Originally, at All-Star break, that bag of chips was an All-Star while Paul George wasn't. Until a lot of players got injured and then Paul George eventually became in the All-Star game. So Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis became steals for the Indiana Pacers, especially because they're a few years younger than Paul George and they're able to mesh a core together with Miles Turner. The future's bright in Indiana, especially when looking towards the playoffs this season. They're a very young team, one of the youngest teams in the NBA this season, and they were able to push the Cleveland Cavaliers this playoffs to Game 7, which is something the Raptors can't say. They're probably getting swept, the Raptors, no lie. The Pacers put up a better fight this season through the regular season and playoffs this year than last year compared to with Paul George. So I don't know what that says about Paul George. He has a great shoe though. I love the PG ones, the PG 2s. So good luck in LA, I guess, because he's gone, right?
Lately, shit been crazy. People hate me, how I'm living. I ain't tripping, they just jaded. I got patience, still consistent. Out of the sidelines, trying to take action. You ain't on the field with me, you ain't climbing hills with me. I ain't pick cotton while your pockets hold still empty. Nigga, why you talking about you trying to come and build with me? You ain't making hits, nigga. You ain't trying to heal with me. Yeah.